Hey everyone, the Wagon Wheel of Wisdom here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell notifications down below if you haven't already. Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of the Wagon Wheel of Wisdom. I am Kevin, your host. Behind me as usual, the beautiful wagon wheel, and hopefully a little wisdom still up there. Interesting topic today. I'm going to address something that is probably on a lot of our minds. And how do we move past a connection with someone when we feel so connected to someone? How do we do that? Is there a magic recipe that I have for this? And the honest answer that I can give you is no. I'm going to give you what has been working for me, and I think if I'm going to dive into this correctly and be completely fair and transparent with everybody, this is a journey where it has to be your own thing that gets you there. I like the idea of connecting with different people and different things and trying new ideas to see what works. Other people have different variations with how they do things, with how they approach things, and we're not all wired the same. We have not walked down the same road. We haven't walked down the same paths in life. Our experiences are vastly different. So I think this is where I can, on a confident level, say that what might work for me in the moment, depending on where you're at, might not work for you, but maybe something you could pick up down the road. And if I were to give a comparison with that, I'm reading a book, a new book right now called 3 Magic Words. It was recommended by Dr. Wayne Dyer. I've listened to so many of his things on YouTube about his advice, and so I'm heeding the advice of his about this book. And the funny part about this book, and to the point of what I'm trying to make, is that it might not have worked then, but might work now. I read this book probably a year and a half to 2 years ago, and the meaning of it then is profoundly different than the meaning of it now based on how I've evolved, and I can only attribute it to this journey so far and how my mindset has completely shifted into a totally different direction. So with that in mind, what can we do here? The simple answer, and I realize that this is oversimplifying everything, but the way out is actually turning inward. So the way out of the obsessive thinking, the way out of yearning for somebody that you miss, the way out of waking up every day thinking immediately about this person and then right before you go to bed, the way out of all of that is actually turning inward and finding yourself. And the first thing, and I'm just going to again compare my own notes on my own personal journey. Full disclosure, I'm a little over 5 months into this journey now. It has been some rough waters, been some great times as well, been one of the most exciting journeys I've been on as far as self-discovery goes. But let's just start with a simple step of step 1. I want for you, and it is my hope for all of you, that you get to a point of acceptance. Just accepting that the relationship as you know it with your counterpart is over. Now, why do I say that with such certainty? And kind of, I'm saying it in a manner that it probably isn't hitting well with people. But this is a crucial point that we all must come to, and a crucial point of realization. And if you look at my videos, even up to this point, there's still this resistance to the acceptance that the past is over with this person. But that's the whole point. That's the whole design of this. The notion that we can have the relationship of how it used to be with this person has to get cut out immediately. And let me qualify that, and I'm going to go down a road here that maybe you will resonate with, maybe you will not. But I just want you to go back in time in your own life and think about it from this angle. Are you the type of person that for most of your life has struggled to truly fit into groups, into categories, into places? And I'll give an example. Like, I used to find myself trying very hard to fit in with groups of people just so they would like me, just so I could feel like I was part of something, while simultaneously feeling slightly disconnected from the group, and maybe in a way not feeling as if you were being treated in the exact way that they were treating the others. Like, you fit in in a sense, but you didn't fit in. Or perhaps when you got into your older years, when you began to enter the workforce. You know, I tried like hell to be part of the corporate world for probably a total of 8, 9 years, and just realized that as hard as I wanted to try, and the harder that I actually tried to fit into this demographic, the worse I felt. I, in no way, shape, or form, enjoyed going to a cube farm, and that's what I refer to as the cubicle life, a cube farm. It reminds me of what a computer microchip would look like. Just people sitting there staring at a screen, slowly watching their life just fade away into the distance, knowing full well internally, if you were like me, that there was something far, far greater out there for you. You get to a point where you reach a point of acceptance in that you know there is something better out there for you. So maybe you might start a side hustle, start a little small business on the side while still working to make sure that you make ends meet. And you come and you slowly migrate and shift out of that. Or in the case like I'm experiencing right now, the subtle shift of this breakup and accepting the breakup for what it is, and noticing that, you know what, I didn't fit into the old mindset of how I thought relationships should work. And here I am slowly transitioning away from that, accepting that the past is in the past. I don't have a time machine. I don't know how to time travel. Doc Brown and I don't talk anymore. So, and that's a Back to the Future reference for people that didn't get that. But I don't have the ability to go back in time and right the wrongs and rewrite history. But what I do have the ability to do is really do a self-assessment present day, take, you know, regardless of what sort of mindset or mood I may be in, and just know deep down, much like my old friend base, much like my old work habits, my old work life, much like the way life is transitioning, to just fully know deep down that there is something bigger and better and far greater out there. And as I've learned throughout this journey, once you begin to accept that it's over, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's an easy task. That is still a daunting task that I wake up to basically every single day. I can count probably on my hand the amount of days in 5 months where I've woke up and not thought about her. It's there. What I have been leaning on in these videos, though, is with the acceptance portion of it, is accepting it in this mindset. While you're transitioning, and what I mean from the old to the new, you're going to still think about them, okay? How you're thinking about them, though, is what I find to be vitally important. If it's negative looping thoughts where they did me wrong, they said this to me, they're the enemy, that's going to keep you stuck in a much lower vibration. When you begin to transition slowly into the category of acceptance, self-love, and as I said, turning inward is the way out. When you turn inward into yourself, you begin to see a nice subtle shift in how you do think about them. It's more of a warm, loving embrace. And that's not to say that the ego isn't going to fight back, because, ladies and gentlemen, your ego is going to fight you tooth and nail. Your ego is that asshole friend of yours that constantly talks crap to you. It really is. It should be a servant to you, not the master to you. And again, if you were like me, and I'm just fully transparent here, I used to be up here all the time. My ego ran the show. The part of the acceptance category where you're shifting your mindset over, you begin to realize how vitally important your soul is to your life. And that book that I just referenced, 3 Magic Words, talks about this. It talks about the ability to now truly trust your soul's guidance. Now, Kevin, how do I get to this point? This is where that discipline and the practice comes in. But I just want to reiterate, the acceptance that the old is done and over with has to be the kickoff point for you to be able to dive into your soul. It is that aspect of surrender that I've been talking about a lot. And again, I'll post the video down below of the guru that talks about the act of surrender and what is necessary to begin to get that. And you're going to have to, not maybe, you're going to have to, every time these thoughts spin up, and believe me, in the beginning, it's a lot. Every time these thoughts spin up, implement that act of surrender and just watch over the course of days, weeks, even a month of you enacting this discipline, how much you begin to shift. To be expected though, you're going to reach days where you feel blissful and joyous as you begin to navigate through your soul. But as I experienced just from this last weekend, when you kind of come back to your own little reality, to home, to where things are, quote unquote the same, the pendulum swings back the other direction, and again, more challenges. But if we approach them as challenges versus how I used to think of it, like, oh God, here we go again, going down this rabbit hole. When we look at it as challenges, because we know on the other side of that is feeling great, we begin to want to enact these disciplines more and more. And from my standpoint, both yesterday and today, I've had to do it quite a bit. But I noticed that the amount of time and the duration that those negative thoughts remain in me are less and less and less. And it's a great transition. And if you want to see, this has been basically a video diary of my journey through this. Go back to my earlier videos and just take a peek at like how this dude's mind used to operate. And it was, it was kind of a scary place. It was dark, it was blaming, it was almost delusional in a lot of ways. But again, this is not a one-size-fits-all category. Some of us have better meditating disciplines than others do. Some of us have better practices than others do. It's all where our tools are. But this is the point of it. We get to go down a road into a brand new area of life where we begin to trust that guru, that inner guru, or trust our gut a little bit more, and to have our ego sit exactly back where it should be. So I want to just talk about then, and I've talked about these a number of times, is the different disciplines that I've been enacting to help me on this journey. I'm a big believer in this, and much like if you were to get out of corporate America, call it, and you wanted to go do and start your own business, you've got to change your way of thinking completely, because a steady paycheck is far different than trying to earn a paycheck where it all depends on you. Now, I realize that in the corporate world, it still all depends on you, but you've got a steady stream of income coming in. Now we got to start over again from scratch if we're going to start our own business. Where does my health insurance come from? How am I going to generate enough revenue? I have to generate all the sales leads. I can't rely on Bob or Deb over here to do this for me. These are transitions. So here has been my very challenging transitions, and I'm going to start off right away with the top three that all kind of lean into the same thing, but it's self-fulfilling pleasure, basically. No sex, no dating, and no masturbation. Now I realized on the last one there that I had broke that, and I am not breaking that one again. I just the amount of power that I feel from no masturbation it's soul cleansing. I can't explain it. It's just a beautiful feeling inside of me of being powerful in this way. I don't necessarily know why, but it is truly a mindset thing. It's the same thing if you used to be promiscuous. If you used to be one of those people who, in order to get over one relationship, or how does the saying go? The best way to get over someone is to get under somebody else. I highly, highly, highly advise against that in this. This is about cleansing your energy, cleansing all of your energy fields. Look up karmic bonds and energy cords through sex, and let me know if that doesn't change your mind or shift your mindset about that at all. I've gotten to a point, and so many people have echoed this in comments on the celibacy video that I made, that I don't even want to be touched. I don't even want to be looked at half the time, it seems like. I don't mind being acknowledged, but at the same time, I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me to date. I don't have it in me to want to be touched by anybody. Again, these are one of these unexplainable things, but I can only attribute it to, and look and learn about this as well during the acceptance part, how the Kundalini energy rises up from the base of your spine all the way up to your crown chakra, and that's the point of self-actualization that we're all trying to get to. But you're going to see that so many people that are on this journey are sharing in exactly what I'm talking about. The old days of using the flesh to somehow satisfy our ego, and believe me, that's a very ego-driven thing. You're talking to a retired douchebag here who used to use sex as a means of my own self-fulfilling prophecy, but at the same time, realizing now and looking back on it, just how empty I was inside by doing that and acting in that way. And it's why I'm so diligent about sticking to this. But at the same time, I'm so incredibly grateful to whatever energy that is in me that is keeping my mind and my body on the straight path in this one. Yeah, again, just go through the comments, and everybody that talks about this basically kind of echoes the same thing. It's just there's no desire, none. We desire us. We desire our soul. And if we're on this journey, that other soul is that other counterpart. So that's 3 things right there off the top. The next one I talked about earlier with the books, with the reading. I'm damn near obsessive about it, but the readings that I'm doing are all about learning about me. It's about turning that energy inward, so I'm not projecting outward or thinking of things in the context of my world is shaped by events happening to me. It's like, no. I realize now more than ever that I get to actually use this blank canvas, and I get to be Jackson Pollock, and I get to design this to the liking that I want. And that again is another aspect of this whole acceptance thing. You truly begin to learn that you've got a hell of a lot more power than you ever thought. At least that's where I'm at. You feel incredibly powerless at times with this, but getting on the other side of those powerless moments, you're going to see just how damn strong you are. This journey isn't for weak people. If you tend to be a little weak in those areas, it is going to strengthen you so much. And that inner strength is going to be your inner drive later. I can feel it just pulsating in me more and more every day, shifting from feeling totally powerless, totally, out of that victim mindset into somebody that's stepping into his power in the best of ways. The next one, along with reading, is journaling. This kind of goes hand in hand, I think, too, with the reading aspect. I used to suck at being able to remember what I would read because my ego and my brain was driving the wheel while I was sitting there trying to pay attention to the pages and read. Now I can read and read and read and read and retain so much of the information. With journaling, it's been the same thing. I used to be able to write a few lines and I can't think of anything. It's like, really, Kevin, you can't think of anything today that you don't want to write about? Things you're grateful for, things that have happened, people you met, etc., etc. Now journaling is easy. I'm writing pages a night on day events, what I'm grateful for, people I've talked to, who's impacted my life, who hasn't impacted my life, and so on and so forth. It's been a beautiful shift all through this whole aspect of acceptance of being on this journey and being completely okay with it. The next one is exercise, mental diet, and body diet. I'm staying the hell away from sugar. I'm staying away from crappy foods. Yesterday, I made a beautiful salad. Leafy greens, fruits, vegetables, nuts. It is a great time for all of you to really reinvent the wheel, reinvent your wagon wheel instead of your food pyramid, because I think that's a load of crap anyway, and get in a diet that really works for you. I am a big believer in fasting. I have completely felt the power behind fasting now. I look at fasting as like nature's forest fire in a way. When a forest fire comes through, the green growth, the new growth starts immediately. When you fast, your cells begin to kind of reset themselves, begin to break down all of the old crud and maybe some toxins that were in your body, and you get to develop a brand new you. But at the same time, I felt this just amazing inner peace during a good fast. I have done a max of 2 days during this process as far as my longest fast, but after about, I think, 3 weeks, I'm going to build up and see if I can't do 3 days. Just give it a shot and see how much better I feel. But it really helps clear the head. I've found that it helps shut down your ego, my ego, and gets you sort of into that aspect of soul again, which is great. The other thing is physical exercise. Get outside. Please, for the love of God, get outside. Walk. A minimum of 15 minutes a day. A good up-tempo, fast-paced walk will work wonders, and please find 15 minutes. If you're on the floor sobbing, get outside and go for a damn walk. Please, give yourself that gift. That movement, the idea of walking forward, gets your mind moving forward instead of spinning the wheels and staying stuck. If you're at an advanced level of exercise like I am, get to the gym. Nothing better than burning up some anger on those on hitting the weights, or go for a jog. That has been a hell of a way that I've found, and I didn't even really like running, but you get the breathing, the up-tempo breathing. You know, after you kind of wind down from the jog and get your breath back, you know, just ask yourself, you know, how good do I feel in these moments? Do I feel pretty good? Yeah, I feel better. That energy, it'll help burn that off. And the last thing is a simple one. Not a simple one, I shouldn't say that. None of this is really that simple if these are all brand new disciplines. They're very challenging, actually. And I want you to not be so darn hard on yourself. If you can only do this for a minute, meditate. If you can just do some quick breath work, do 5 deep breaths in through the nose, hold it for 4 seconds, blow it out. In through the nose, hold it for 4 seconds, blow it out. Do 5 of those, do 10 of those if you can, and just sit. If your thoughts start to race back in your mind, feel the breath going deep into the lungs and just see how it helps settle down the mind. And at the end, you guys, because these things seem to be working for me, and I've had people comment on my transition, which is great. I've felt the transition to some degree, but other people are like, wow, man, you're really moving along. These things right here they've been the anecdote, along with the support too. And that's the other aspect of this. If you can find people that can echo this and support you on this journey, because let's face it, it's few and far between. Not a lot of people going on this journey like we are. And there's people that can talk about breakups with you. There's people that can talk about loss. There's people that can talk about this, but unless they've truly walked down this road with you and held your hand or actually experienced it, there really is nothing that they can communicate to you that would allow you to then connect to them on this. You either know or you don't. And that's where, again, during the isolation phase of this, and I think most of us really do that, we self-isolate. It's a very important time to not completely isolate, especially from a mental perspective. Do what you can to connect. Do what you can to connect with people on this and just talk it out, talk it through. More importantly, if it's just you, journal like hell and get these things out and just go back in time and reread and see if you can, see your own progression as you've gone through this. So these are the things that I've helped implement into my daily practice with this. I have my good days. I have my days that it is a kick to the, and it's hard. It really is. It's hard to get through sometimes to be able to even function. It really is. But I want to be here for you guys just as you're all here for me. I want to let you know what is working for me, what isn't. Take little bits and pieces of it all. Implement these things if you feel that you want to try something different, if the way that you're going isn't working. And just know that slow and steady on this one, I think, really wins the race. This isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. This is endurance. This is Ironman. This is probably the hardest goddamn thing you're going to go through in life, and that's no joke. It really is, because when you look at it, if you look at it how I'm looking at it, where I want to get to has actually been a dream of mine anyway. I just wasn't expecting to lose the greatest thing that had ever happened to me in my life in order to activate this process. Who the hell would have ever saw that coming? You look back in the relationship, and sure, there was some trying times, but holy shit, there was just feelings that I've never felt before. There was emotion I've never tapped into. There was an exciting, I mentioned the word longing a lot, about longing for my counterpart now. There was a longing for that individual way before I even met her. And much like when I was talking about earlier about working in places where you just don't fit in, trying to fit into friend groups that you don't, I longed for a different life. Here it is. I had no idea that this is going to be the catalyst, or how challenging or hard it was going to be, but getting through this is going to be incredible. It is going to build mental strength inside of you that you never saw before, never felt before. It's going to turn you into the individual who I truly think you always wanted to be. But it's going to take some work to get there, because we have to reinvent our life from the bottom up, from the ground floor up. It's just the way it's got to go on this one. And on those days you feel like giving up, don't. Go look in the mirror, hug yourself, love yourself, tell yourself you love you. Say that you got you. I got you. But it's going to be tough. But that's the point. So, hope you guys have a great day.